Hi everyone, it's Raxx. I've been playing a build for the last week, and I think that this is one of, if not the most powerful build I've ever seen in Last Epoch. It absolutely decimates AoE, clears the entire echoes instantly. On single target, it erases bosses like T4 Julra in 1 second. And I want to show you some gameplay here, and then I'm going to show you exactly how to put it together. So I'm a marksman, and I'm doing damage with Detonating Arrow, yet I'm wielding daggers. I have no points in the Marksman tree, and I'm not going to shoot one Detonating Arrow. Kind of crazy, but I'll show you how this all works. So this is how far I am. I only have 117 corruption, but this is going to show you the power. All right, here we go. Well, run around lazily and throw traps, and you're going to see they're going to start multiplying and jumping, and they are going to kill the entire screen without me aiming or paying attention to anything. When you set a bunch of these traps under a boss, they die instantly. It's some surreal damage. Another thing that I cannot stress is this is not a well-built character. I've been kind of rushing to put him together. If I put some more time into this, the power level here is insane. Look at that prophecy. Daggers. God, I love that. Okay, so we run around. Monsters are spawning right there. I can go get this buff, and it killed everybody. They're all dead. Okay, let's see if we got any good ones. Hey, look, that's the dagger that we need for our build. Okay, anyway, doesn't matter. And that's just how it is. It's just pure destruction, AoE everywhere, insane single target. Probably the only little chink in the armor here is the defense isn't the best, but that's no problem. We're going to solve it through our gear and through our passive trees and our skills. We're going to be able to be just fine. So let me show you exactly how this build works so you can make this and destroy the whole game. So first of all, you need 2 of these daggers. These daggers are extremely easy to acquire. You just saw me get 2 of them from a prophecy. But even if you don't have, that much currency, even if you don't play too often, this dagger is very common. It's only required level 36, and you can get it from Runes of Ascendance. So if you find any dagger, put in your loot filter, recolor every dagger bright yellow or something. Any color, bright red. When a dagger drops, use a Rune of Ascendance. There's a very high chance to get this gel cores, and because it's a very common drop, you can actually get it with legendary potential very easily, so you can slam stuff into it, which is amazing. So let's see exactly what's going on here. +3 to level of Detonating Arrow. We're wearing 2 of them, so that's 6 to Detonating Arrow. And then it reduces the mana cost of Detonating Arrow. This is a critical thing to understand. Detonating Arrow costs 8 mana. So between the 2 daggers, you need to have -8, so Detonating Arrow is free. That's why this one is -5, and this one is -3. Just demonstrating for you that you need to have a total of -8. If you don't, keep using Runes of Ascendance, keep using Prophecies, go to the Merchant's Guild, make sure that the minus mana cost total is 8. So it's free. Detonating Arrow no longer requires a bow. That's good, because we're going to dual wield the daggers. Detonating Arrow's initial projectile is now a melee attack. So an arrow thing that we don't fire, that we don't use a bow for, is now a melee skill. Crazy. And it applies an explosive charge, it explodes, and then at the same time as the detonating arrows, and the explosion deals damage, and then we're going to turn that into a vicious chain reaction that wipes the entire game. Detonating Arrow now scales with melee damage, makes sense, and we get a ton of flat melee damage on top of it. So these 2 daggers are the only things that are required to start playing this build. You don't need any of these other uniques or anything. You're saying, Raxx, you're showing me like a 9 unique build. This is stupid. You don't need them. I mean, look at my character right here that you just saw. I have 1 of them. I'm not wearing any of them. I'm just wearing random exalted gear. I told you my gear sucks. Doesn't matter, still pure destruction. So, the body armors, the mountain, you get these from the Lightless Arbor dungeon. That's where you're going to find them. I believe that the core of the mountain only drops in T4 Lightless Arbor. So you can farm tier 2 and tier 3 to get the helmet and the boots pretty easily with some legendary potential. Then when you get strong, go to level 4, farm it, and you're going to be a happy camper. And so we wear the helmet because it's going to give us massive critical strike chance. We use the body armor because it's going to help us with endurance. It's going to help us stay alive. And same thing with the boots. The boots are going to give us massive endurance and all attributes. It's going to help us stay alive. So what kind of stats are we looking for here? We want critical strike multiplier because our critical strike chance will be very high. Anything with lightning damage, as you see here, or melee lightning, as you see here, I'm showing you both on the different daggers, it's very strong. And shred armor is very strong because it's going to lower their resistances. Crit multi, anything with lightning, melee lightning, shred armor, dexterity, that's what's going to make you hit harder for the offense. But I promise you, your offense is going to be pretty much solved. The focus that you're going to see me constantly reiterating here is going to be on defense. Now, one thing that you're going to see is there are different ways to build the defense for this build. You can build it with ward, for example, but I got to be honest. One, I'm kind of sick and tired of all the ward builds, and I'm pretty sure ward is going to get nerfed. Because even builds like this, which really aren't really supposed to go ward, they just take all the ward uniques and build ward anyway and survive that way. I don't think that's going to last. And I don't want to make a video and then they're going to change it and then all of a sudden you can't play this anymore. I think this will stay as it is, or if anything, it's possible that this might actually get buffed. But this is based on mostly endurance and dodge rating and glancing blows. And once you have it all set up, you will be extremely tanky without doing the ward nonsense. And then when they nerf it and everybody else is crying, you're going to be happy because your build is still going to be there. All right. For the different body armors, again, there's a couple of unique roles for the rogues that involve daggers. There's one for the helmet, increased crit chance per equipped dagger. Very strong slam on the helmet. And then for the chest armor, increased damage while wielding a dagger or dual wielding daggers. Other than that, it's health, endurance threshold, reduced damage from crits, all of the normal things, movement speed, all of the logical things that you would see on a lot of different builds. One thing that you don't necessarily need this unique. It's a nice to have the chance to apply Doom, the movement speed, the melee damage leech. That's all nice. But the thing that you must have, at least on one of your rings, is minus throwing attack mana cost. You know how we're solving the mana cost here for our detonating arrows? What we actually throw all the time as well are our traps. You need this minus throwing attack mana cost on at least one ring. You don't have to have it on the other ring, but if I were you, I would put it on both because then your quality of life is going to be so high. You can just vomit traps everywhere, all over the echoes and a million under a boss, and they're going to die instantly. So at the highest levels of min-maxing, you don't need both of the roles. For most of the playthrough and to make it really comfy, I would advise you to get both of them on both rings. Prioritize that. It's extremely important that your mana cost is solved. And then on the gloves, throwing attack speed so we can throw the mines faster, the endurance, the health, the reduced damage from crits. It's all pretty normal stuff. Nothing too crazy to report there. One comment I want to make on this relic is it's very strong. 100% chance to cast a water orb when you hit a boss or a rare enemy. Okay, we get a water orb. 3 water orbs if your attunement equals your intelligence. Well, we don't stack attunement or intelligence. They should be equal. So we get 3 of them now with a 3-second cooldown. 30% increased lightning damage for every water orb you have cast in the last 12 seconds. So every 3 seconds, we can gain 3. That's 9, and it lasts for 4. It's 360% lightning damage plus the 40% lightning damage implicit. And then you can get the slam of 60% more lightning damage. This thing is crazy. I don't even have it. I don't even think I'm wearing this. When you start to add all these things up, this build just plows everything. And another very, very nice slam in whatever amulet you choose to use, you can use an exalted amulet, that would be fine, is it has lightning pen on the amulet. Pay attention to that. That's another pretty juicy roll here. and the belt, lightning damage, mana regen, health, endurance threshold. We are going to pay attention to endurance in this build. And so if you don't know how endurance works, you want to build endurance, which is going to reduce the damage that you take once your health drops to your endurance threshold. So, for example, if you have 2,000 health and your endurance threshold is 1,000, once somebody hits you down to the 1,000 HP level, then your endurance percentage will kick in and reduce the damage that you take further down. So the cap is 60% endurance. We get that very easily here. And notice how we have pumped this endurance threshold as high as we possibly can. And it will actually be higher when you play because of foot of the mountain. 100% of the dodge rate that you have, which we stack, is converted to endurance threshold. So a huge portion of your life is constantly protected by an additional 60% damage reduction. It's going to keep you alive. It's super nice if you ever get hit by some kind of colossal attack. So that's kind of why that's the main mechanic we're going to use, along with building a ton of health. At the end, we have 3,300 health here. It's a beautiful combination. Should be able to survive just about everything. So for the passives, notice how we only take 8 points in the marksman tree. This is the weirdest build ever. We're a marksman, and again, we're doing detonating arrows, we're wearing daggers, we're throwing traps. This doesn't make any sense, and you don't even spec into the marksman tree. Why would you pick marksman as your mastery? You have to pick marksman because marksman unlocks detonating arrow. At the end of the day, detonating arrow is what does all of our damage. It's just a very crazy way that we apply it to the entire map. So the only thing we're ever going to pick up here is just the 8 decks that we get. I could go through here and walk through all the talents. I don't think that that's extremely important other than just kind of the high levels here on how I moved through. It's a recurring theme. The way that I move through the talents and what will help you is based on survivability first. When you're level 36, if you have 2 of these daggers and even all yellow gear, you're going to do so much damage. So you're going to have such overkill damage for the game, for such a huge portion of the game. Honestly, probably the whole way until you get into extremely high corruption. Focusing on all the damage talents here doesn't make any sense. I just want to keep you alive. As long as you don't get one-shotted, I don't think anything is going to possibly stop you. Nothing stopped me until I was fighting a boss, and I got so complacent, I started fighting a boss. I was reading chat, and I looked back, and the boss killed me. I wasn't even looking at my screen. That's the only way I could die. Sad day. I don't want to talk about it. I'm still sad. Anyway, I move through here. That's going to give you a lot of defense first. And the basic things that are going to make you do more damage are crit chance, melee damage, melee. Remember, we converted detonating arrow to melee. And then we'd get things like glancing blow and dodge rating and anything that we can get like that. Dex is going to increase your damage. We move through it and we get things like this with the increased crit for the daggers. Then we go over here for the final talent, more health and health gain on glancing blow. Should be real strong for you. And that's why the marksman tree is not useful to us. We need melee stuff. There's nothing there, but we can pick up the 8 decks. And another comment I should make is for the falconer, you do need to put points here in order to get explosive trap. You're going to see that right now. Okay, so if we go to the skills, okay, for some reason it keeps taking my skills out. I don't like that. Let me put my skills back here. What's the next? Smoke bomb. Okay. Detonating arrow. So the important thing to know here is we need to go to the top right. Go to the top right, and what we're going to do is we're going to put 3 points into arcing blast. The explosion causes lightning tendrils to shoot out to nearby targets. This is one of the chain reactions that we're going to set off, and lightning damage is the type that we're doing that's going to kill everything. Then we're going to go up over here and max the lightning pen. You might ask yourself, Raxx, why did you only take 3 points here? Well, when you have 3 points, the maximum targets is 6, and that seems to be the number that will wipe the entire screen. If you really want to, you could take 4 of 4, but I haven't seen anything really survive with 3 of 4. Other people that are much higher corruption than me seem to agree that 3 out of 4 is all you need. So that's why. Everything else here is just for more damage. I could go through and explain every node to you. It's just for more damage. I don't know what else to say about it. Now, explosive trap. This is one that we have to pay attention to. Remember, the thing that you must keep in your mind. Defense, mana problems. I'm going to say it one more time. It's very important. We solve Detonating Arrow with -8 on the daggers. We solve the traps with the minus throwing cost. Okay, now we go over here to explosive trap. The way that you solve your mana are with these two notes. These two right here are going to solve your mana. But before we go grab them, we need to make explosive trap trigger detonating arrow. We're not playing a trap build. We're playing a detonating arrow build. So we need to go to the left first, and we need to go pick up this. When explosive trap detonates, all other explosive traps now also detonate in quick succession, firing detonating arrows. The traps detonate, they shoot the arrow shoots the lightning tendrils. Goodbye, entire world, you're all dead. After that, we're going over here and we're going to take all of the mana nodes. Super important. There's a cute little talent right here where it's going to give you it's going to throw your default and your converted traps. So it's just going to throw way more traps, throws more arrows, throws more lightning tendrils, full screen dice. That's why we take these 2 points. And then you come up here, and then you're going to take the sprinkler. It's going to have an additional chance to throw more traps, and then the traps are going to be thrown 12 meters at nearby enemies. Another chain reaction of traps and more traps, which all shoot detonating arrows, which all shoot lightning tendrils. The chain reactions just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. That's why it's insane for AoE, and then when you stack them in one spot under a boss, they die instantly. This build's crazy. I mean, I can't say enough good things about it. So it's kind of important to understand we want to solve the mana issue first, but we can't do that until it actually throws detonating arrows. Shift is kind of like just all quality of life. The main thing I like to do is go for the cleanse ailments. Can't beat cleanse ailments. But now there's another beautiful synergy here. So we're going to throw 5 shurikens every time that we dash. Now, why would we want to do that? Is shurikens doing any damage? No, it does something else for us. When we go to the right side here, first of all, it spins in a circle around you, and those spinning shurikens last a lot longer, and they can pierce, so they're always going to be there spinning around you. And it's all for this beautiful node. 30% increased armor per shuriken. Excuse me, sir. That's insane. So all of those things spinning around you are giving you massive armor. So we have massive armor from the shurikens. We have massive health from our gear, over 3,000 health. We have capped endurance at 60%. And our endurance threshold is going to be way higher than 1,000. We're going to be protecting hopefully at least half of our HP with another 60% damage reduction. Should be very hard for you to die. It's going to be quite beautiful. That's the idea of throwing the shurikens, and the rest is all quality of life. Another one I want to call out is this one, Swift Recovery. Whenever you dash, you gain mana. When you're struggling with mana early on, you don't have like perfect gear, dash all the time. It's going to give you back 16 mana. Pay attention to that. Smoke Bomb is going to give you more damage, and it's going to give you more survivability. You can cast this on the boss. Another thing that I like to do, this might be a little overkill, I go for Smoke Bomb, cleanses ailments as well. Again, just trying not to die. So your dash or your Smoke Bomb will cleanse your ailments. So you can just use that on the bosses. One final note that I want to make here is you actually don't put shurikens on your bar. Your dash will cast your shurikens for you automatically. You need to be dashing all the time because, like we just said, the dash is going to give you mana back, which is beautiful. And then 2 more things that we should cover are the idols. Crit chance per equipped dagger and damage with a dagger if you can find a breadstick like this. Very strong. Crit multi is very powerful because our crit chance will be very high on this build along with health. Everything else here is just for health and resistances. that I wasn't already meeting. So whatever you need at the moment for your build, just go with that. And here I didn't list every blessing. I just listed the blessings that will actually help you. Definitely take the XP because there's nothing better than passive points all the way to 100. When you get to 100, switch it to the unique blessing. Void res, we know what that is. Dagger drop rate. Keep trying to find 3 LP of the daggers. Keep slamming your best stuff in there. Shred lightning is really good, and percent lightning damage really good. Whichever one you get a godly roll of, go with that. All res extremely strong. Physical res and the huge chunk of armor is going to help us survive. And I can't remember if I talked about the slams on the daggers. Let's talk about these real quick. Crit multi is godly, and shred armor as a suffix is godly. And then for your other prefix, you have two choices. It's either flat melee lightning or it's lightning damage. Because remember, detonating arrow is what does all of our damage, and it's a melee skill from the dagger. That's why you go for melee lightning. All right. Well, I think that's it. I mean, I think that's enough talking. I think what you need to do is you need to go make this build right now. I think you're going to have so much fun with it. It just clears the entire screen. I don't know, man. I can't say this in every video, but I think this might be my most favorite build that I've made. This or the Wraith Lord. But the thing about the Wraith Lord, he keeps pissing me off, man. His AI is so bad. Me and Wraith Lord are not on good terms right now. EHG needs to help us there. Anyway, I'm really liking Last Epoch, guys. I think popping up somewhere, I'm going to have a playlist here of all the Last Epoch videos I've made. If you'd like to check out more, I've got tons of guides. I'm going to keep making content for this game as long as you'd like to see more of it. Thank you.